All right, welcome everyone. So we're going to start today in a seated position. I'm going to sit onto a thin block. So maybe you wish to sit the hips up onto something, a little bit of a lift, maybe a blanket or cushion, coming into a cross-leg position, but making sure that you've got the knees either level to the hips or lower than the hips. We don't really want the knees coming up higher than the hips. So make sure you're sitting comfortably, legs crossed, got this nice length through the spine, shoulders relaxing down. Closing the eyes, just beginning to tune in this feeling of coming into stillness, letting go of the week so far, letting go of responsibilities, if that's at home or work or just life responsibilities. Letting go of the need to be anywhere other than where you are on your mat practicing today. So bring your awareness into your body. Feel a sense of grounding, connection with the floor, the feet, the legs. Feel the grounding of the sit bones as the pelvis settles down. I'm going to place the hands onto the lower ribs, so maybe one onto the lower rib and one side of the ribs, or one onto the belly. But just tuning into this breath, coming deeper into the body, relaxing the shoulders, and noticing as you breathe in, sense of expansion against both hands. And as you exhale, this feeling of softening back to center. Breathing in, feeling that expanse. To the sides, feel the diaphragm dropping down, this engagement, maybe even to the pelvic floor with the breath, and then exhale, softening back to the center. Do that a couple more times. Breathing in, noticing the back of the body as well, expanding with the breath. So as much as you can, try to take the breath deep into the base of the lungs and noticing how that breath might be, maybe it feels a little bit new this morning. Sometimes we can be so used to breathing up into the chest and the upper body. Notice what parts are expanding and contracting as we breathe lower. It's 360-degree expanse in all directions. And we're going to open the eyes. We're going to take a breath in here. And then exhale, we're going to take our arms out to the side. As we breathe out, the arms coming out. Inhale, the arms are going to come together. Almost like you're sort of touching the palms together. And then breathing in, exhale as you come out. And then inhale as you come in. So we're going to go in the opposite direction to the rib cage. Exhaling, the hands are coming out to the side. Feel that little bit of engagement with the arms and the hands. Inhale, coming in. Exhale, moving out. So I want you to feel as the rib cage softens back to center, the arms are expanding, and then arms coming in as you expand the ribs. A couple more times. Exhale. Inhale. And feel kind of like this energy between the hands as well. One more time. Exhaling out. Inhaling in. And then exhaling, just placing the hands down. Let's swap the legs the other way. So other leg in front now. And then I'm going to take the arms out to the side, reach through the fingertips. And we're going to turn the palms up. And then we're going to hunch the shoulders as we take the hands the other way. And then breathing in, we're going to open up. And then exhale, hunch. Okay, we'll do it one more time. Inhale, opening out. Exhale, hunch. And then we're going to turn the left arm, palm facing up, and we're going to take the ear towards that shoulder. And then we're going to alternate the arms as we swap the head. So other way. Palm turns up, we lean the head in that direction. And then we swap. So let the head just drop and find this sort of rhythm, arms and head moving together. Find this nice stretch into the neck And also this massaging into the shoulder girdle. One arm coming forward, one arm rolling back. Good. One more time. Great, lovely. And then relaxing the hands down. Let's just take the head in whatever directions would feel nice. You freestyle a little bit here, moving in whatever directions would feel nice to free up tension. Explore all the different kind of ranges of movement with the neck. Within reason, you know, if it feels tricky to take the head back, now obviously don't do that. Good. Okay, so we're going to just start with some gentle pelvic rocks, so tucking and tilting the pelvis. So just focusing on the movement of the pelvis, not so much the rib cage, just focusing on that pelvic rock, forward and back. Good. And then we're going to take the arms out to the side. We're going to take a breath in. And then exhale, we're going to come forward with the arms as we scoop the abdominals and tuck the chin. Inhale, we're going to open out with the arms out to the side as we lift the chest and arch. Exhale, coming forward. Inhale, opening out, arching the spine, maybe lifting the gaze, tilt the pelvis. And again, exhale, scooping the abdominals back. Inhale, opening out. Exhale. Let's do one more, breathing in. Exhale. Good, and then rebuilding the spine. Let's take the right hand down, breathing in, left arm reaches up. Exhale, coming in for that lateral stretch, grounding the left sit bone down, turning the gaze, turning the chest up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, we're going to come up. Exhale, hand comes down. Breathing in, reaching up. Find that length. Exhale, coming over. Turn the chest, grounding the right sit bone. Breathing in, coming up. Exhale, hand comes down. Let's do one more on either side. Breathing in, reaching tall. Exhale, coming over. Find that openness into the side of the ribs. Lung on that side. Breathing in, coming up. Exhale, down. And again. Turning the gaze, finding that side stretch. Lovely. And then coming down with the arm. Lovely, great. So let's come off what we're sitting on now, pop it to one side. And we'll come into Uttanasana, standing forward bend. So we'll tuck the toes and we're going to lift the hips, walking the hands back towards the feet, folding over the legs, maybe a little softness in the knees. You know, this could be the first forward bend of the day. So let's just relax the knees, let this be fairly easeful. Breathing here, you know, arms can hang down or you could hold opposite elbows, feet roughly hip distance. Good, let's place the right hand on the outside of the left leg. So maybe down by the ankle or maybe higher up, depends on your flexibility. Bend the right knee a little bit and I'm going to take the left arm up using this right hand to push against the leg to help us turn. Breathing there. Now you might wish to have both legs straight if you're more flexible or that right knee bent. As I said, you know, whatever's more comfortable for your spine. Glancing up, take another breath in and exhale, release, coming down. Other side, hand around the outside of that right leg, breathing in, coming up. So it depends on how high you want the hand, you know, feel into your body. We want to maintain a roughly neutral spine here. With any twist, we want to think about length in the spine. So the hand can be higher if you need it. You can bend that left knee or not, up to you. Take another breath in, reach up, find that twist, and then exhale, coming down. Lovely. Take a breath in, and exhale, we'll start to roll up through the spine. Slowly, slowly, keep the weight onto the balls of the feet. So this feeling of really getting, so we're not sort of sitting the bum too far back. Keep it over the heels if you can. Breathing in, head comes up last. Breathing in, we're going to take the arms out to the side, coming up to that prayer position. And then exhale, we're going to take the arms wide and sort of open out to the side, reaching back with that arm. And then breathe in, come back to center. Hands come back up above the head. And then exhale, other side. Try to keep the pelvis facing forward. So the twisting, just turning the upper part of the torso. Breathing in, coming up. Exhale, other side. We'll do one on each side. So knees can be a bit soft here. That's helpful for your back. Good, and then coming back to center. And then bringing the hands down into the center of the chest, into prayer. Come to the front of your mat. We're going to come into chair pose. So feet hip distance apart, just check. Feet are underneath those bony bits at the front of the hips, those ASOS bones. Spread the toes out. We've got this nice equal pressure through both feet. So maybe shifting the weight a little bit left and right, just getting that sort of pressure down through both feet equally. Just tuning into what's happening with your feet. And then we've got all four corners of both feet grounding. Let's lift the toes, spread them out. So lifting all 10 toes, get them really active, spreading apart, and then plant them down as far away from each other as possible. Grip the mat, pull up with the mat with the toes, and then release, and then lift and spread. And then plant them down and grip the mat. Lovely. And then release. And then we're going to lift the big toes first. And see if you can isolate. Second toe lifting next. Third toe. Doesn't matter if you get this exact. It's more about just training, getting this brain to toes connection. Working on that. Little toe comes up last. And then see if you can get the little toe down first. Second biggest toe. Third. Take your time with this. And then the big toe comes down last. Good. Feeling that connection down through the mounds of the big toe. Yeah. Okay. Arms coming out to the side. Let's breathe in, bringing the arms forward. And exhale, sitting the hips back. Finding your chair pose, that neutral spine. Then maybe bring the arms up above the head if you want to. You sit maybe a little bit deeper, keeping the connection of both feet into the floor. Try not to grip the toes. But keep the weight kind of forward a little bit. You want to see the feet, you want to see the toes. Yeah. Take another breath in. And exhale, we're going to fold forward, arms coming out to the side, folding over the legs. Fingertips onto the shins, breathing in, lift the chest, glancing forward. Exhale, fold over the legs. We're going to come back up to standing, push down through the feet, breathing in, arms come wide, all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, hands into prayer, center of the chest. Breathing in, arms come out, lift through the chest. Exhale, diving forward. Long, smooth exhalation. Fingertips onto the shins, breathing in, gazing forward. Find that flat back. Hands can come as high as you need them. And exhale, fold. Let's take the right foot back. Pop that back knee down, untuck the toes, push down through this left foot and come up with the arms. Breathing, dropping into this low lunge, so pelvis dropping down, bending into the knee, keep the torso relatively upright, the hips level. So good to check that, what's happening with those front two hip bones. Take a breath in, exhale. The right hand's going to come down and then the left arm's going to turn. I'm going to take a brief twist here. You can tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee if you want to add that on. It's up to you. Reach up with the fingertips, turn the chest. Feel that twist. Take another breath in and exhale, coming down with the hand. Let's scoot this left foot back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. Take another breath in. Exhale, coming forward into plank. So shoulders over the wrists. If you've got the knees up, and then kick back through the heels, engage the thigh muscles, tuck that tailbone under slightly. You can always have the knees down as well. And then placing the knees down if you want to as we lower to the floor. Breathing in, we're going to shift the weight forward onto the tops of the toes. Exhale, elbows coming in, use the arms, slowly lowering down. Tops of the feet into the floor, push that pubic bone down, engage the legs, breathing in. Find length and exhale, push the floor away, draw the chest forward. Take a couple of breaths here. One more breath, lifting a little bit higher. And exhale, lowering down. Tuck the toes, maybe hands a bit further back on the exhale. So breathing in to prepare, and then exhale, lifting the hips. Downward dog. Smooth, even breaths. Softening the elbows if you have that tendency to hyperextend the elbows. Great. I'm going to breathe in, take the right leg up to the ceiling, pointing up and back. You know, you can always come to kneeling first if this feels tricky as a transition. Exhale, bringing the knee into the chest, round the spine. Foot comes to the front, you can always use the hand to pull it forward. And we'll come into a high lunge, so we'll push down through both feet and we'll lift the body up. Take a breath in here. And exhale, we're going to take a twist, turning to face this left leg, so left side of the room. Reach away through the arms, maybe glancing a little bit towards the back of the room. Back leg stays active, but you're pulling the legs together. That's really how the balance works with this one. Focus on the thighs pulling together, like a pair of scissors. Take another breath in. And exhale, slowly coming down with the hands. Back foot steps forward, folding over the legs. Breathing in, we're going to take the arms wide, coming up. Lift the chest. Exhale, hands into prayer. We'll take a breath in, arms coming out and up. Lift the chest. Exhale, diving forward. Breathing in, coming into that tabletop. Shoulder blades back, chest wide. Exhale, fold. Let's take left foot back this time. Pop the back knee down, untuck the toes. Push this foot into the floor, coming up with the arms. Dropping into this lunge. Make sure the knee's not going too far past the ankle. We want that sort of feeling of perpendicular angle of the shin to the floor. Square those hips. Always cactus arms is an option as well. Take another breath in. Exhale, hands come down, tuck the back toes under. Scoot the foot back. Let's take a downward dog. Making sure we've got a nice length in the back of the neck in downward dog. Planting the pads of the fingers and underneath the knuckles. Let's get the hands really working. A little bit of external rotation of the shoulders can be helpful. Good. Take a breath in. And exhale, coming forward into plank. Know that you can always have the knees down. Otherwise, engage the thighs. Push back through the heels. Really engage around the abdomen, which should be automatically switching on. And if it's not, try tucking under with the pelvis a little bit, pushing the lower ribs up into the back of the body. Know that you can lower the knees if you want to as we transition to the floor. Breathing in, coming forward, tops of the toes. Exhale, arms really working as you slowly lower the body down as one unit. Good. Tops of the feet into the floor, pubic bone grounding, breathing in, draw the chest forward. Exhale, press the hands into the floor as you lift into your baby cobra. Maybe trying with the hands hovering off the floor, feeling how challenging that is to stay up. Really focusing on the upper back, bending, good. Feet into the floor still, engage the legs. Take another breath in, maybe lifting a little bit higher. And exhale, lowering down, hands a bit further back, tuck the toes, take a breath in. Exhale, push the floor away, lift the hips, downward dog. Couple of breaths as we soften the elbows and really engage the fingers, knuckles into the floor. We soften the shoulders, we find length up through both sides of the waist, down through the backs of the legs. Lovely, let's take a breath in, take the left leg up, pointing up and back. Exhale, bring the knee into the chest, round the spine, place the foot at the front. Get both feet in good alignment, so maybe a little bit of a corridor down the middle of the mat, and then push both feet down, coming up. Bending into the front knee, take a breath in. Exhale, twist. Try to get that tucking under action of the pelvis here. So as you twist, we're not overarching the lower back, we're not collapsing and bringing the ribs too far forward. We're keeping this connection, ribs to abdomen. Lower ribs coming in, slight tuck of the pelvis, squaring the hips. And then the twist sort of unfolds from that position of stability with the pelvis. So you're twisting towards the bent knee. So if you, yeah. Take a breath in and exhale, coming down. Step the back foot forward, fold over the legs. And then we'll breathe in to take the arms out and up, lifting up, lift the chest, and exhale, hands into prayer, center the chest, closing the eyes. Taking a moment here just to come back to stillness, to let the breath settle. to notice how you're feeling now. And where is the mind? Just coming back to this experience in your body if the mind wanders away. So gently opening the eyes. And we're going to do a little bit of work with chair pose. So if you've got a strap, great. If you don't, you can use a dressing gown belt or what else? Like a regular belt. Scarf could work as well. But pop something around the thighs. If you don't have anything, you can do this without. So I'm using a yoga belt. I'm going to get it quite tight so that when I'm pushing against it, I've got the hips in line with the knees. So if you're using a resistance band, that's fine, but I would say double it over. So you have double the strength. So you're wrapping it around twice. And you want the legs quite close together. Yeah. So, but if you're using a strap, you want a little bit of space between the legs so that when you're pushing against the strap, you're feeling the knees aren't going too far wider than the hips. You want to get this nice alignment. Okay, feet grounding down into the floor, slightly drawing the pelvis into a tucked position. I'm going to breathe in, bringing the arms forward, and exhale, sitting the hips back. I'll show that from the side. So we're getting this chair position, but we're focusing on pulling the strap apart. So really focus on engaging the legs, and what hopefully you should be feeling is the glutes switching on here. The smaller muscles of the glutes, the glute medius, for example, which can often be a little bit on the weak side. Keep breathing, sitting maybe a little bit deeper, feeling that work into the legs and the glutes. Maybe the arms come alongside the ears if you want. Take another breath in, keep pulling the strap apart, and exhale, push the feet down, coming up, arms come down. Okay, take a couple of breaths here. We're going to do that again, and we're going to add on that slight, you'll see. So breathing in, we're going to bring the arms forward, and exhale, we're going to sit back, doing the same thing. We're going to pull the strap apart. So we've got this engagement outwards, we're abducting the legs, pulling out. But then also we're going to add on an external rotation of the thighs. So we're adding on this slight change. So externally rotating, the legs aren't really going anywhere, but it's that internal, if you imagine the bones trying to externally rotate in the hip sockets. Sit back and feel how that really does affect the glutes even more. Arms coming up, maybe a slight tuck under the pelvis if you're not already. Good, take another breath in. And exhale, pull the strap apart as you come up. Good, arms coming down. Lovely, let's pop the strap to one side. So coming back to the top of your mat, we're feeling the glutes and the legs really switching on. Feet hip distance, arms coming down. Let's take a breath in, coming up. Lifting up through the chest. Exhale, diving forward, folding over the legs. Fingertips coming onto the shins maybe, or on the floor, breathing in, tabletop. And then exhale, fold. Let's step the feet one by one back into plank pose. So with our plank, so we've got shoulders over the wrists, kick the heels back. You know, you can always have the knees down, but if you've got the legs up, I want you to really imagine we've got our strap still. Pull the legs apart. Feel what happens when we slightly externally rotate the legs. We're not moving them hugely, but just like what we were doing in chair, just imagine we still have the strap and we're doing that. We're pulling the legs apart. Feel the work. Core switching on. Slight tuck under the tailbone. Good. Take another breath in. Lower the knees if you want to as we lower to the floor. Exhale, coming forward. Elbows coming in, slowly lowering down. Use the arms. Well done, great. Place the hands underneath the forehead. Feet coming a little bit wider out to the sides, sort of the sides of the mat. Feet turned out, resting in crocodile pose for a moment. Feeling the pressure of the belly against the floor. This expansion with the inhale and the sense of softening, releasing it into the floor with the exhale. So bringing the legs back in line with the hips now. We're going to take a quad stretch. So we're going to bend the right knee, reach back with that right hand to hold the top of the foot. Head can stay onto the hand or the forearm, or you can prop yourself up onto that arm. That's up to you. But heel coming towards the bottom. Make sure the knee isn't coming out to the side too much, that right knee. Keep it in line with the hip. And if you prefer to do this lying on your side, just roll onto your side. That's fine. See what happens when we gently press the pubic bone into the floor. And gently releasing the foot now. Let's go to the other side. Other forearm under the head maybe. Reaching back with that left hand for the left foot. Keep the left knee in line with the hip. Gently pressing the pubic bone into the floor, if that feels appropriate. And then gently releasing the foot. We're going to take a little bit of work with the upper back here. So coming into locust, feet, tops of the feet onto the floor. Let's really press them down, press the pubic bone into the floor. Let's get that length in the lower back and thigh muscles and kneecaps engaged. Arms reaching back, take a breath in. On the exhale, we're going to lift head, chest, arms away from the floor. Inhale, the arms are going to come into a W position. Elbows sort of bending. Exhale to a T, arms reaching out, lift the chest. And then inhale, coming forward with the arms into that V position. Palms together, shoulder blades down the mid-back. Exhale, arms come back into that locust. Inhale, W position, bend elbows. Exhale, T. Keep that chin tucked. Inhale, coming forward, palms facing together. Lift the chest for that upper back working. And again, exhale, locust. You can lift the legs if you want to add them on now. Thighs can lift. Up to you. Inhale, W. Exhale, T. Lift the body away from the floor. Inhale, V. Palms to get facing to one another. Yeah, good. Couple more rounds. Keep going. So exhale back into locust. Arms coming back. Inhale, W arms. Good for the shoulder blades down and back. Exhale to a T. Good. Inhale, V. One last time at your own pace. Flow with the breath. Good. So moving at your own pace. Good, everyone. Keep that chin tucked, that length in the back of the neck. And once you've done your V, coming back with the arms alongside the body and resting down. Well done. So shimmy shake the pelvis a little bit side to side. Fab. Okay, so I want you to roll over onto your side to face the camera, so whichever way that is for you. And we're gonna come into a bit of a side plank flow. So you can either do this on your forearm. If you want to do the full side plank and extend the legs, have enough room there to extend the legs on your mat. So make sure you're scooched up top of the mat enough. So you can either do this on, as I said, forearm, elbow underneath the shoulder. Make sure it really is under the shoulder, or you can do hand underneath the shoulder. Let's start with bent knees, tucking back with the feet. Take those shoulders down. Let's imagine we've got oranges under the armpits. We're gently squeezing. Spread the fingers and thumb of that hand and breathe in. We're going to lift the hips. And exhale, lower to a hover with the hips, arm sweeps forward. And then coming up. Coming down, breathing in. Exhale. So flowing with the breath in whatever way feels natural. And then we're going to hold up this time. Shoulder blades down away from the ears. Feel free to make sure the hand is in the right position that you feel supported. If not, forearm is fine. And then if you want to extend the top leg, bottom leg, you can do that. Lift the legs, lift the hips, maybe glancing up. You want to stack the feet, flex both feet, have one on top of the other, that's fine. Lift the hips, feel the sides of the waist engaging to keep you up. Really lift from the abdomen, lovely. Yeah, good. Take a breath in. And exhale, we'll slowly start to bend the bottom knee with control. And then we'll start to come up and we'll take a lateral stretch, hand onto the leg, breathing in, reach up tall, and exhale, coming over. Turn the chest, relax the shoulders. Find that length, fingertips all the way down, side of the body to that knee. And then coming up. And then hand comes down with control. So core switched on here, tuck under with the pelvis. Arm comes over. We'll stretch that way. Lovely. So coming up, core switched on, coming up. And then we're going to bring the knee in and we're going to do all of that on the other side. So coming down the other end of the mat now. So either on the hand or the forearm, whatever you did with the side plank. Make sure you've got enough room to extend the legs if you're going to do that. Tuck the feet back, knees together. So really get those feet tucked back so you can bring the body forward. If you have the feet too far forward, it's tricky. So keep them tucked back, knees together. Spread the fingers and thumbs. Breathing in, we're going to lift the hips. And exhale, lowering down to a hover. Sweep the arm in front. Inhale, lift. Good. Keep the shoulders down. Keep squeezing under the armpits. You know, like we've got these oranges. We're gripping under the armpits to keep the shoulder blades down. Let's do one more. Lifting up, holding there. Maybe extending the legs one at a time. Try keeping, so a slight tuck under the pelvis is useful here to lengthen the lower back, engaging the core. If you want to stack the feet, flex the feet one on top of the other, lift through the hips, feel the abdominals engaging, those obliques at the side of the waist, shoulders down. Take another breath in, and then slowly bending the bottom knee. Good, coming up. Hand coming down onto the leg. Let's all meet for this side stretch, breathing in. Exhale, coming over. We want the knee in line with the foot so that you can really open out this one flat plane through the front of the body. Take a breath in. Switch the abdominals on lightly, coming up on the exhale. Breathing in, arm comes up, exhale. And then we'll slowly come back up to kneeling, core engaged. And let's come over into a downward facing dog. So knees a little bit further back from the hips, tuck the toes, take a breath in, spread those fingers and thumbs, and exhale, lift. Relax the shoulders. Feel the abdominals switching on. Good, we're going to bring the right foot to the front. So you can either do that by coming to kneeling first, or you can take the right leg up, breathing in, right leg up to the ceiling, pointing up and back through the toes. Exhale, bring the knee into the chest, round the spine, pop the foot to the front. And then we're going to bring the back foot a little bit further forward, and we're going to plant the whole of the foot down. So we're prepping for warrior one. So we want about one leg's length distance between the feet. I would have a corridor down the middle of the mat if I were you, so that the hips can stay square. Take a breath in, and exhale, push the feet down, coming up, bending into the knee, coming straight into warrior one. So you can have the arms in cactus, or you can have the arms up. Or if you want to, you can take the hands back. You can bind interlaced fingers and thumbs, squeeze the shoulder blades together. It could be a nice option, actually. Bending into the front knee, try to keep the lower ribs in, so we're not flaring too far forward with the rib cage. Take a breath in, and exhale, straighten the front leg. We're going to prep for Uttanasana, so hands maybe coming onto the elbows at the back, or if you want to take prayer hands at the upper back, you have that mobility at the front of the chest, that's fine. Breathing in, lift the kneecaps and thighs. I would bring the back foot slightly further forward if you wish to, but on the exhale, you're going to fold, drawing that right hip back, folding over the leg as far as you can, while still maintaining length in the spine. So, and what that means is the openness through the front of the torso. Good, so opening the chest. Keep both legs engaged, pulling up the arches of the feet all the way up through the kneecaps and thighs. Keep both legs switched on for this. It's important. Smooth, even breath. Good. Take another breath in and exhale. We're just going to release the arms and we're going to fold over this leg. I'm going to take the back foot a little bit further back. We'll start to straighten this front leg. Walking the hands back. You can always use blocks here if you need to. Tip the foot up. So we're getting a stretch in the back of the front leg. A little bit of a deeper stretch. And then we're going to plant the foot down. Take the hands forward and we're going to come into a one leg balance. So we're going to shift the weight forward onto this right foot as we slowly start to bring the left leg up. And at the same time, the chest is dropping towards the leg. Smooth, even breaths. Find a focus with the eyes. See if you can lift this left leg any higher. And then if you want to, you can place one hand around the ankle, the leg, and then the other hand. Challenge the balance. It can be a bit of a hot potato game here. One hand going down at a time. If you can find that stability, balance, go for it. And then slowly bending the knee, stepping that foot back, hands coming down, and we'll step back into our downward dog. And maybe taking the right leg up just to release the hip. And actually what might be nice is taking a hip opener here. If you want to, bending the knee, heel towards the bottom, open the hip out to the right side, maybe take the right leg over to the left side of the room. Try to keep the shoulders and hands equally pressing and equally squaring. Good. Coming back to that level, hips. Yeah, good. And then place the foot down. Let's go straight to the other side. Let's take the left leg up this time. Breathing in, lifting tall through the left leg. We're coming to kneeling first. Exhale, bringing the knee into the chest, round the spine, lift to bring the foot forward. Lovely. And then let's prep for warrior one. So we'll bring the back foot onto the floor, bring it a bit further forward. So about one leg's length distance between your feet. Take a breath in and exhale with this front knee bent. We're going to come up straight into warrior one. Maybe taking the bind if you did it on the other side. Other thumb on top. Reaching the arms away. Bending into the knee, but keeping this back leg engaged and straight. Back thigh wrapping in. Tucking the tailbone under slightly. Take another breath in. And exhale, releasing the arms, straightening the leg. And then maybe taking hands around the elbows, maybe other way around this time. Or if you do prayer hands in the upper back, that's fine. Breathing in, lift the chest, lift the kneecaps and thighs. Exhale, let's dive forward. Both feet grounding. Feel the back leg wrapping in, internally rotating that back thigh, squaring the hips, lengthen the spine, smooth, even breaths. Take another breath in and exhale, release the arms. Let's lift the back heel, step the back foot further back, straightening out the front leg, maybe tipping the foot up if you want to go for that slightly deeper stretch. Keep squaring the hips. And then we'll plant the front foot down, bending the knee, and then take the weight forward and come into our balance. Just take your time with this. Press down through the foot as you lift the back leg. Find a focus with the eyes, steady gaze. Feel those glutes switching on from that work we've done with chair pose. Leg nice and steady, maybe one hand, maybe both hands. Drawing the chest towards the leg, if you have that flexibility. If not, just do the best that you can. The aim is to get the stretch. Doesn't matter what this looks like. Make this work for you. Take another breath in. And exhale, release the hands if you've got them around the ankles. Step the back foot back, wide stance, and downward dog. And then we'll take the leg up. So if you did it on the other side, taking the leg up. Knowing as well, you can always rest in child pose if that feels better for you. Bending the knee, opening the hip. If you went for that variation on the other side, let's keep it symmetrical with the sides. If you're doing that, keep both hands equally pressing. Excellent. Okay. Take a breath in. Exhale. Let's come back to center with the hips. Bring that leg down. And then take a breath in here in downward dog. And exhale, let's walk the feet one by one to the front of the mat. Fold over the legs. And then holding it here, breathing in. Exhale, we'll start to roll up through the spine. So keep the weight forward, maybe the legs straight or a little bit of a bend in the knees. Might be nicer. Starting to roll up, stacking one vertebra at a time. Breathing in, the head is the last thing to come up. Okay, so we're going to do chair pose again. We're going to add on a twist this time. So bring the big toes together, heels a little bit apart, just like an inch apart. Knees really, the legs really pulling together. Let's breathe in, bringing the arms up, maybe alongside the ears. Exhale, sitting the hips back. We're going to bring the hands into prayer at the center of the chest. And then we're going to sort of take the right elbow over to the outside of the left leg. So the upper arm is there, and you're going to turn the chest, press the hands together. Now, that might be too much. If you're a little bit restricted with your body, maybe actually just have the bottom arm straight and the other arm reaching up straight. And then you're still getting the twist in the spine, which is the intention of the pose. Make sure the knees aren't coming one forward of the other. Keep the knees the same level, so that the pelvis stays, both sides of the hips stay level, and you're twisting really from the mid to upper back. Take another breath in and exhale. Release the arms, hands into prayer, coming up to standing. Take a breath. Good. And then we'll take another breath in. Maybe the arms coming up. Exhale, sitting the hips back. Keep those big toes together, heels a little bit apart, but the knees squeezing together. Hands into prayer. Let's take, lifting, lengthening the spine as you take the left upper arm on the outside of that right leg this time, turning, twisting. Press the palms together and pushing them into the center of the chest. If that's okay for your spine, if it's better to have the arms straight and you're higher up, that's great. Listen to your body. Make sure there's length in the spine, both knees the same level. Take another breath in. Exhale, twist one last time. Breathing in, and then exhale, releasing, coming back, prayer, hands into prayer at the center of the chest. Okay, so really having the feet a little bit wider apart now, so about hip distance. And we're going to do a little bit of a balancing pose here. So we'll start with warrior 3. So we're going to take the weight onto the right leg and get your balance to start. Maybe you want the hands into prayer. There's actually 3 ways you can do the arms in warrior 3. Palms into prayer, pressing into the chest. You can do it with the arms back alongside the body, or you can do it with the arms forward. So getting your weight onto that right foot, take a breath in and exhale, slowly start to come forward. You can soften the standing leg knee, both hips level, back leg engaged, pushing back through that heel. And I really want to focus on the hips leveling out with warrior 3. Good. Take another breath in and exhale, press down through the standing leg. And we're going to hover the left foot, bring the leg into the chest, hugging in. Let's do some circles with the ankle with this left foot. Circling around the ankle joint. Other way. And then we're going to take, I'll show it from the front. So we're going to take the leg out to the side as the other hand is on the hip. Maybe the arm extends out, thumb and forefinger pressing together. Maybe you want to turn the gaze towards the right. If you want to take a straight leg variation, thumb and forefinger, the first 2 fingers around the big toe, and you can straighten that leg out. That's up to you. Kind of steady gaze, staying with it. Good. And then coming back to center, holding it there. Hugging the knee in again. Good. And then slowly releasing down. Great. Good. Let's do that on the other side. So starting with warrior 3, weight onto that left foot. Hands can be, like I said, prayer, arms back or arms forward. Taking the weight forward. And again, we're working on So with warrior 3, really important to switch on those smaller stabilizing muscles, the glutes, like I talked about before, the glute medius. So level the hips, really feel the glutes switching on. Breathing. Taking another breath in. And exhale, slowly bringing the body up as you bring the knee into the chest with control. Holding around the shin, drawing the leg in. Oh, I'm on the wrong leg again, aren't I? Oh, I'm getting confused. So circling the ankle, yeah, the foot around the ankle. Good. And then other way. Yeah, so you guys have got the right leg in. Okay, so be symmetrical. And then taking the outer, so we're taking our Padangusthasana, knowing that you can do this with straight leg if you want to. Straightening out, taking the leg out as far as is comfortable. Maybe the arm reaches out, thumb and forefinger. Press together. Good. Maybe taking the hand out, maybe gazing in that direction as well. Good, everyone. And then slowly coming back to center. Hugging the knee in. And then releasing down. Okay, fab. Let's take a wide stance with the feet. Turn the toes in, lift the chest, breathing in. Exhale, diving forward, fold over the legs. You always have the hands on a block if you need to. Or yeah, you can hold feet and around the outside of the legs if that feels nice. Bring the hands back onto the hips, take a breath in, and exhale, push down through the feet, coming up with the body. Keep the feet pigeon-toed together. We're going to do something here with a twist. So arms are going to come out to the sides. Take a breath in. And then exhale, we're going to rotate the spine and reach the hand on the outside of the foot as you turn up. Inhale, core engaged, coming back up. We're going to go the same way. Exhale, rotate, and then reach forward. Outside of that foot, reaching. You always have a block here if you want underneath the hand, that's fine. Breathing in, coming up. And one more time. Exhale, twisting, keeping both feet rooted. Turning up, we're going to hold it here. Find the length in the spine. A twist in the spine. Take another breath in. And exhale, push down through the feet, coming up. Let's go the other way. Breathing in. Exhale to move. Twist, rotate the spine, and then reach over. Reaching up with the other arm, turning the gaze up. Breathing in, coming up. Core engaged, so nice and controlled with the core. Exhale, turn, reach. Breathing in, coming up. Exhale, nice and slow and controlled. And we'll hold this one here. So reaching up with the arm, find the length in the spine. Gazing up, just holding for a couple more breaths. And then slowly coming up with control. Okay, lovely. Bringing the hands to the hips, bring the feet in. So coming either into squat, or if you prefer, happy baby pose on your back. Breathing in, arms come up. Exhale, coming down. Knowing you can have something under the hips for support, or maybe under the heels. We want the feet and the knees in the same direction. Check that alignment. Relax the shoulders, open through the chest, and breathe. Good. And then slowly releasing down. Lovely, leaning back into the hands. Feet as wide as the mat. And take a bit of windscreen wiping. Nice. I think after all that, it's a good thing that we can stretch out the hips and glutes now, I think. So let's come into square pose, or fire log, as some people call it. I'm going to sit onto a thin bit of a lift. It's up to you whether you want to do that. So square pose. Really important that the knees come closer together and the feet are underneath, the heels are underneath the knees. Quite often people have the knees way too wide and they're not going to get anything. So you really need to bring the knees closer, heels wider, and then feet maybe a little bit further forward. So we're lining up the shin, kind of if we imagine the mat, the edge of the mat here, the parallel, you know, we want the shin parallel. Fingertips coming down, breathing in, lift the chest, exhale, hinging forward. Yeah, so Sue, you might have that foot a little bit out to the side, a bit too wide actually. But you know, it's up to you. That yeah, I mean, you want to get them directly underneath the knees, basically. And then those who might need it a bit more of a stretch can pop the front foot on top of the opposite knee. So that's up to you if you want to do that. Breathing into the stretch. So what we're looking for is an outer hip and glute stretch here. If there's any pain in the knees, please come onto your back and do figure 4 pose instead. Another couple of breaths here. And then coming up. And then we'll swap legs. So other leg in front, knees and directly over the opposite feet, the ankles, the heels. Maybe scooching the feet a bit further forward. Sit tall. So we've got both sit bones grounding. That's important too. Breathing in, lift tall. Exhale, hinging forward. As you know, you can always pop the front foot on top of the knee, but I would recommend flexing both feet if you're doing that, just to protect the knees. Make sure the bottom foot is far forward enough. Quite often when people do the foot on the knee variation, the bottom foot is too far back. Bring it forward a little bit and that can give you a little bit more of a stretch. And then slowly we'll come up. And then I want to do a couple more things before we come into Shavasana. Let's bring the left leg forward. Flex the foot. Let's bring the right leg over so the knees are stacked. And then the foot is on the outside of that left hip. So quite far round. If you have the ability to take the other foot round as well, and you can stack the knees and you've got that feels okay. You've got both hips grounding, great. If not, just keep this leg straight. Yeah. So up to you. Let's take the left arm up, bend the elbow. Other arm comes underneath. Binding. Maybe backs of the hands coming together, or if you can get the palms together, great. Breathe in, we're going to lift the chest. Lift the elbows. Exhale, tucking in, curling in, tuck the chin. Breathing in, lift the elbows. And exhale, curling in. Let's do it one more time. Pull the arms. So really feeling that stretch into the upper back, the shoulder blades. Exhale, curling in. And then lift the chest, lift the elbows, release the arms, and maybe coming forward any amount. Good, and slowly bringing the body up. Let's swap legs. So right leg extended, left leg over. So left foot on the outside of that right hip this time. Maybe bringing the right heel round as well, if you can. Up to you. Right arm comes up first, left arm underneath, binding the arms, palms together, backs the hands. Breathing in, lift the chest. Exhale, curling in. Breathing in, lift. Exhale, curl. One more time. Exhale, curling in. And then lifting the chest, lift the elbows, release the arms, hands coming down, maybe coming forward if that feels helpful for you. Slowly starting to rebuild the spine now. I'm going to release the legs, bring them forward, and maybe doing a little bit of side to side with the feet. And we're going to do a forward bend. I'm going to finish on a forward bend. So Paschimottanasana pose. Legs together, feet together. Pull the sit bones back, so the flesh of the sit bones back one at a time. So we're sitting really nice and tall. You can always use a strap here around the feet or have slightly bent knees. Breathing in, we're going to take the arms out and up, lift the chest. Find the length in the front body. This is important. We're taking this with us as we fold, hinging at the hips. So only come to the first edge in the pose, hands come down. Maybe you can place the hands onto the floor or use a strap, or if you can reach the feet, feel free to grab the feet. But I want you to maintain this sense of length in the front body. Breathing. Find the length maybe in the back of the neck a little bit. It's amazing when you tuck the chin in this pose, how much it affects what's happening in the legs. You know, we really notice how this posterior chain works through the body at times like that. You know, when just a slight change of the position of the head can change what you're feeling in the backs of the legs. I mean, it's amazing. It really tells us so much about how everything is connected through these fascial networks in the body. Just another couple of breaths. So breathing in, find more length, maybe a little bit more of a lift through the chest. Exhale, maybe softening into any space that's arising. Take another breath in. And make this last exhale very long, so really smooth and long. And you slowly begin to rebuild the spine. Let's come onto our backs, grabbing anything you need for warmth, jumpers, socks, come into brief Shavasana. Get nice and warm and comfortable. Make sure you are comfortable. And if there's any final pose, anything you want to do that we haven't done, have my permission, go ahead. Otherwise, making your way into Shavasana. So taking the pose that feels most appropriate for you, where you can feel held and supported by the floor. You're warm, you're comfortable, you've got blankets if you need them, to cover the eyes perhaps. Letting the body rest. This is as important as anything we do. So letting the spine come into a comfortable neutral position. Letting the pelvis rest in that comfortable, easy alignment. The spine as well. The shoulders relaxed into the floor, the weight of the head. The arms and the legs heavy. Relaxing hands, relaxing feet. Relaxing any tension. The feet up through the legs, the hips, the belly, the shoulders, the rib cage. Down through the arms, the hands. Up through the neck. Into the jaw, the tongue. Up through the cheeks, around the eyes. Temples, the forehead. Resting the awareness in the space between the closed eyes. Feel free to stay here as long as you need to today. If you feel ready to move, gradually deepening the breath and inviting some movement into fingers and toes, arms and legs, taking whatever movements would feel good for you to stretch and open and move the body. Hugging the knees in, and I'll roll over onto one side, coming up into seated position. Bringing the palms together at the center of the chest, taking a breath in through the nose, filling the lungs, and we'll exhale through the mouth with a gentle sigh. Thank you very much for joining me. Namaste, everyone.